Xbox went down, PlayStation crashed, Steam buckled, Nintendo's eShop fell over all at the same time. Not from a cyber attack, not from some AAA blockbuster launch, from a 20 quid indie sequel about a bug with a nail. 3 people in Adelaide just brought the entire gaming world to its knees. Hollow Knight Silksong launched, then hit 535,000 concurrent players on Steam alone, while also being free on Game Pass day one. Numbers that put it in the same league as Call of Duty, one of the biggest IPs in the world. So while the industry's biggest publishers have spent the year cancelling projects, bleeding money and laying off thousands, a tiny studio with hand-drawn animations just did something none of them can anymore: make a game the world actually wanted to play. And it makes you wonder what all these boardrooms full of executives and thousands of AAA developers are actually doing. The best part is 2025 isn't just a good year for indies and small studios, it's the year they hammered the final nails into the coffin of the dusty, broken AAA model. And if the Game Awards actually represent the year we've had, AAA are in for a right old kick in the balls. Because this isn't just some weird accident, this is the new normal. The frontrunners for Game of the Year 2025 are undoubtedly indies and AA studios. Multiple games that started with small teams, creative freedom, and zero corporate interference are now sitting at the top of every critic's list. Some of the highest review scores of all time. Larian laid the foundation back in 2023, proved what happens when you give talented people the freedom to make what they actually want to make. Baldur's Gate 3 wasn't just a great game, it was a blueprint. No publisher breathing down their necks, no executives demanding battle passes, just quality and passion. And while the big publishers kept churning out the same formulaic nonsense, sequels on top of sequels, remasters on top of remasters, indies kept innovating, kept taking risks, told new stories, kept making games that actually mattered to people. And it was only a matter of time before the so-called best games of the year stopped coming from the biggest studios. That time is now. What a time to be alive. The proof is undeniable. Silksong peaked at 535,000 concurrent players on Steam. Assassin's Creed Shadows hit 64,000, which was a record best for the franchise. That's not a close call. Silksong pulled 8 times the numbers. One of these is 3 people with hand-drawn animation building on a legacy of quality. The other is a multinational mega corporation with a marketing budget that could fund a small space program. Guess which one players actually wanted to play? No massive ad campaigns, no sponsored streams, no fluff articles about revolutionary gameplay, just a reputation built on delivering what was promised. And it turns out that means more than any flashy TV ad ever could. But this has got to sting. Ubisoft spent hundreds of millions developing and marketing their latest blockbuster game. 3 people in Australia spent their own money and time, and the result is 8 times the audience. When you're getting demolished by a team smaller than most studios' cleaning departments, what exactly are you selling anymore? And this isn't just one embarrassing example. The indie space is exploding, and we've got the numbers to prove it. A new study from the Game Publishing and Marketing Summit shows this isn't just opinion anymore. And here's the beautiful bit. This is a study from a summit specifically for game publishers and marketers taking place next week in London. They're not even denying it themselves anymore. The number of self-published hit games nearly doubled from 2019 to 2023. We're talking 36 hits in 2019, 71 hits in 2023, and before you ask what counts as a hit, we're talking games that made over $3 million in their first year without a publisher taking their cut. The indie market is expected to double from $5.3 billion this year to $10.5 billion by 2030. Meanwhile, digital storefronts like Steam have given indies equal shelf space alongside AAA titles. No gatekeepers, no middlemen siphoning cash and crushing creativity. It's easier than ever to publish a game and reach your audience directly, which makes you wonder, what exactly do publishers bring to the table anymore besides taking a massive slice of revenue, telling developers to make their games more like whatever's trending on TikTok while simultaneously taking a dump on everyone's heads. These guys are becoming irrelevant, and the industry's own data proves it. The proof is sky high. Blueprints launched in April to a 92 on Metacritic. At the time, it was the highest reviewed game of 2025, only beaten later by another indie masterpiece, Clair Obscur, both of them scoring higher than AAA releases like Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, higher than Avowed, higher than Elden Ring Night Rain. This puzzle adventure game with its brain-bending mansion mysteries didn't just beat every AAA release this year on review review scores, it became a cultural phenomenon. 8 years of pure dedication went into this project. 8 years of creative freedom building something truly unique without a committee of executives demanding it be more like whatever else was selling. And the maddest part, it was made entirely by one person. One developer spent 8 years crafting something no major studio would ever greenlight and delivered one of the best reviewed games of the year, while teams of hundreds, if not thousands, churned out more shitty sequels that scored in the low 70s. When your puzzle game built by one passionate developer out-reviews the entire AAA industry, what does that tell you about the value of all of these layers of corporate interference? Muppets. And then there's Clair Obscur Expedition 33, a turn-based JRPG from a 30-person French studio. And before anyone kicks off, yes, they used outsourcing, but everybody does. And this game is almost guaranteed to win Game of the Year. They sold 3.3 million copies in 33 days, and I'm not one for superstition, but man, if that isn't a sign, I don't know what is. No big studio would greenlight a turn-based JRPG in 2025. Too niche, they'd say, not enough mass appeal. Meanwhile, Sandfall went ahead and made one anyway, and delivered something that actually made you feel something again. A story with real weight, characters you cared about, writing that didn't feel like it was written by monkeys prompting ChatGPT. The result, of course, universal critical acclaim. This small French studio on their first game crafted what most would consider one of the greatest RPGs of this generation. And let's be real, Clair Obscur isn't just a Game of the Year contender, it's practically got the award in the bag already. A turn-based RPG beating every AAA blockbuster this year. That should tell you everything about where the real talent is these days. And then we have Schedule 1, made by one person. It peaked at a concurrent player count of 459,000 players on Steam. That's the biggest solo developer launch in Steam history, and it stayed in the top 10 for weeks. Now, Schedule 1 won't be a Game of the Year contender, but the success itself is undeniable. One developer did what EA, Ubisoft, Activision haven't done in years, if ever. Quality and authenticity in one package, something that's become completely unachievable from the big studios. When one person can generate more buzz and sustained engagement than teams of thousands, you have to ask what the fuck is going on and why are they so out of touch? Because it's clearly not making better games or connecting with us, the audience. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 hit 1 million copies in 24 hours, 2 million copies in 2 weeks. Those are AAA tier numbers from a studio that started with a Kickstarter campaign. And yeah, Warhorse might not be indie anymore, but they're the perfect example of what a AA studio can achieve with true creative freedom. No publisher committee demanding they add fantasy elements or multiplayer modes or whatever focus groups think will sell better this week. The result, another likely Game of the Year contender, one of the most immersive RPGs ever made, deep attention to detail and commitment to its vision. When you give talented developers the freedom to pursue their actual vision instead of chasing whatever trend is popular this quarter, you get games that matter, games that stick with you, games that sell millions of copies because they offer something you can't get anywhere else. And the best bit, not one of these Game of the Year contenders cost 70 quid. The best games of 2025, the ones that will be remembered years from now, the ones dominating every list, they're all affordable. Meanwhile, AAA studios are charging 70, 80 quid for half-finished shit that needs 6 months of patches and day one DLC to feel complete. When the Game Awards rolls round, we're looking at a ballot stuffed with indies and AA studios, games made by teams of 3, 30 or 300, not 3,000. Projects driven by passion instead of shareholder demands. Stories that matter instead of committee-approved nonsense designed to offend absolutely no one. 2025 will be remembered as the turning point. The best games don't come from the biggest budgets, they come from developers who actually give a shit about what they're making. Publishers spent decades convincing us they were essential, that without their marketing muscle, distribution networks, and corporate wisdom, good games couldn't exist. Silksong just crashed every platform. One person made Steam history. A 30-person team crafted the JRPG of the generation. Publishers aren't inevitable, they're irrelevant. Thanks so much for watching, appreciate you. Please make sure to like, comment and subscribe to support the channel. And if you're interested in more industry takedowns or indie games to check out, then give these videos a watch. Thanks again, I'll see you in the next one.